Ladies and gentlemen, those of you who follow my reviews and have for these past decades know that I really enjoy a good werewolf movie. I like werewolf stories because I used to be one. And I've got a good one for you tonight. As cinematic class is about to begin, your professor is in. Greetings, salutations, and other sundry affair. I am your cinematic professor and purveyor of truth in movies, and tonight's lesson plan is called Scream of the Wolf. And this comes from the folks across the pond in merry old England. In fact, it was shot in Leeds. So there you have it. This is not a bad werewolf movie. It really isn't. It's a very simplistic plot. There is a movie crew in town, and they are filming a vampire story. And while they are filming the vampire movie, an actual werewolf is killing off the cast and crews. There you have it. It's not bad. As with anything, when it comes down to these werewolf movies, it's, what do they do with the werewolf? And let me get the creature guys for you here because they actually did a pretty decent job. Sean Harrison created the werewolf look in this, and let me give you the guy who actually played the werewolf here. Morgan Rhys Davies played the werewolf, and he does a good job. If you remember Bram Stoker's Dracula with Gary Oldman, okay, played Dracula. There's a couple of scenes in there where Dracula turns into a werewolf and goes and visits Mina in the garden. And the werewolf in this movie is fashioned after that werewolf. A little scaled down. I don't think they had a big enough budget to get all those effects in there, but it's the same kind of fashion. So it's all in all, it's not too bad. The story is kind of there. The actors are, your typical British, harken back to the days of the Hammer films, okay? And the werewolf is plausible. The one place this movie goes wrong is the ending. I'm not sure what in the world happened at the end. I don't want to give the ending away, so I will just say that it looks like the movie ends, and it ends with a couple of the characters, kind of walking into the sunset, and that would have been a good ending. But then they put in an extra scene, and you have to scratch your head saying, what is the purpose of this extra scene? Because according to what has transpired beforehand, especially all of the werewolf deaths, this doesn't make any sense. And then they go even further and they add a very long sequence at the end of the credits. And the sequence at the end of the credits has to do with a secondary character, not even secondary, a fourth level character who is only mentioned in the story, and they give you a whole segment on him, and after you watch it you go, what the hell was the purpose of that? So where they should have ended it, they didn't, and that caused an awful lot of confusion. Scream of the Wolf.
Simeon Oldman, writer, raconteur. We seek a lift or directions to the Crimson Manor film set.
Before you go, take this.
Right.
Right, everyone, let's all take 5. I think we're all feeling a bit frazzled, and it's been a very long shoot.
He's a piece of work, isn't he?
I heard, where's the wolf?
All right, let me do some justice here to the people who put this thing together. James Fleet plays Oliver Lawrence, who is the I guess he's supposed to be kind of like the Christopher Lee. He is the old actor who made his fame playing, the Dracula vampire type thing, and he's on his last hurrah here. Jake Taylor is in this. I also had mentioned the guy who plays the werewolf, who is Morgan Rhys Davies. So he is in there. And boy, the female lead in this plays the assistant director. Her name is Fiona Lula Milligan. All right, and she's in this too. So those are your actors. They do a fine job. There's no problem there. This movie was written by Joel Ferrari. It was edited by Andrew McKee. And except with those scenes at the end that don't kind of fit, Andrew's done a fine job. Director of photography is Vince Knight. He's pretty solid. And our director is Dominic Brunt. So they've all done a yeoman job on this and put this thing together. And like I said, it's not a bad little werewolf tale for an indie flick, but don't just take my word for it. Let us peel back the veils of time, back to the early Cretaceous period for the nation's first and only prehistoric film critic, Rex Reed.
Audio is too low. And effects are okay. Needed a scarier werewolf and a better ending.
Okay, for people who are real werewolf fans, you're going to recognize an awful lot of things in this. First off, the big house where they're filming this vampire movie is called Talbot Manor, which is really great because it was Lawrence Talbot who was Lon Chaney Jr. in the original Wolfman. So that was kind of cool. And the opening scene in this movie happens in a tavern, and it's purloined almost line for line from American Werewolf in London. In fact, there's a scene even after that kind of robs from American, where it's a dream sequence. So you'll notice it right away. So borrows heavily from that story. So it gives it kind of a homey feel. We've been here, we've seen that before. It's a nice little twist on it. All in all, not a bad werewolf movie. Serve you up right for a good old sci-fi Saturday night view. And now that you have learned what you have learned, here